using the Akamai-Fi. I wasn't going to buy another one again. Then again, I got promotion. And then I found the dude that was selling them promotion. On internet. I found that it was a very good buy. Internet so if I'm buying a gadget plus internet at 50, it's a very good buy. So that's how I bought it. And today I saw stuff, and I've been perceiving things for some time, and probably one of the reasons why I'm extra careful when dealing with things and dealing with people. And I thought that maybe we can talk about it since it's a Sunday, and well, we want to survive. And literally, I find that every Ugandan that is watching this live broadcast today, every Ugandan that is watching any video that I publish on For the Love of Cars is either surviving in Uganda or wants to come back and survive in Uganda. And there are probably certain things that I've found that people don't talk about, that we never talk about. We just want to, we sweep those things under the rug. We pretend those things don't exist. We pretend that we can somehow find a way of living, even with them. Somehow we don't tell them to our siblings. Our fathers don't tell them to us. And they just tell you, as long as you're a good person, everything will work out. God will reward you. The world will be good to you. They say there is karma and all that. And karma, personally, I think karma doesn't exist. Karma doesn't exist. I believe that that things happen to people because of the choices they make. If something bad happened to me right now, what I would do is I would try to trace back what I did wrong. And majority of the time when I trace back, I did something wrong. And every time I make a decision and I try to find, I try to, before I make a decision, let's say before I make a decision, I try to find out what might go wrong, what might go right. And that's simply because I don't believe that if I did something wrong will happen to me. I don't believe in karma, but I believe that every decision that we make is going to have an effect on us in the future. And it's one of the reasons why I keep saying that when Uganda, when it's around Kampala aganye, Uganda aganye, Uganda aganye. Tokona. The day I decide that Uganda aganye, I will get out of this country and never return. You get? Because personally, because I've traveled a couple of times, I understand that every time you travel, wokoma over kubako. Baso osoro tambula no gende bulaya no koma no gano kuda mu timing. I think it's the one thing that happened to Maddox. He came back to a country he did not understand. He came back to a culture he did not understand anymore, and somehow he has never woken up actually in that dream. And a majority of the people, I was watching a video last time. Someone was saying that Ugandans that are abroad, bagenda bazimba ennyumba e Kampala ze batabeeramu, n'akwata emiliyoni 7 n'azimbamu ennyumba, and he comes back to Kampala like 2 weeks every year, lives in the house for 2 years, and then the caretaker is living in the house for the rest of the time, and he never returns. And if he's lucky to come back alive, he can live in the house for like 10 years and then die. And yeah, so this is like the thing that most of the people that decide to live abroad, this is the situation they are going through. But Kansokemba Buzeko, Antonio, random things to see me, Eddie, Juko Nicholas, Juko Nzendi Wakalero. Weekend I be at home, and today Nakedene Ziruka. And I've taken some time without running. Last weekend Saduka. And then again, I've been running 1 day every weekend. I used to run 2 days every weekend, and somehow because of the amount of load I have, so I find myself that some Saturdays I have to work, so I don't run. So I run on Sunday, or Sunday I have something to do, and then I can't run on a Sunday, so I run Saturday. So I've been missing a lot, and so in the past 2 weeks I've run only once, and yeah, it took an effect on me. So, but I'm home, yes. Juko, hi. Musema Saddam, hi. I look bright. I think it's the lighting, yeah. Ismail Samukoteka, because these two doors this side are open, so it's the light. Web Solutions, hi. Kalibala Joseph, hi. Ismail Samukoteka, hi. Derek Lule, hi. Daniel Mosh, hi. Abdul Nasser Matembe. So anyway, guys, we have been taught from the time okuvanga tuli, let's say in baby class, fabasoma baby class, batugamba, be good to people, life will work out for you, be the best version of yourself, everything will work out. And I don't think that works. I don't think we should be good to other people because we want things to work out. I think you should be good to people because you want to be good to them. Don't be good to people because you expect the world to reward you, or you expect the God, like you expect God to pay you back, or you expect karma. And when someone is bad to you, because karma is a bitch. Karma doesn't exist. And I think that the statement karma is a bitch meant that karma does whatever it wants if it exists. It said karma doesn't do what you want it to do. You get, because if karma existed, and then when they say karma is a bitch, then they share pictures of Obote's grave saying Obote bichi bichi now is in the bush, and I hear Amin did this to people. Now see what happened to Amin. What happened to Amin happened to Amin because of the decisions. It did not happen to him. Everything he did was a decision. You get. But why am I saying that we should not only be good, but be extra careful? There are channels that I watch, content that I watch that is, if you watch it, you can get really scary. You can get scared. The facts are really scary. For example, there's multiple studies that were done that show that revealed that, for example, if you get like locked up, hi Julius, if you get locked up accused of a certain offense, that and then you go to court, let's say even at a police station, when if you don't look good, chances are high everyone is going to think you did it. If you look good, even if you did it, people are going to see, you get it? If you're attractive, chances are high that people are going to say and even in court there are chances that the judge will find you not guilty because you look attractive. And if you're not attractive, and if you're not attractive, there are chances that you're going to end up guilty because you're not attractive. Because every time someone looks at you, they don't really know how they feel about you. So why we should not only be good, but also be careful is because someone cannot like you simply because you're not attractive. And majority of the population of the world is not attractive or does not fit what the world terms as attractive. That's why you find that we were in class, let's say senior 1, and there was this one girl that every guy liked. And then, yes, the other girls were also nice. They also looked beautiful. But every guy literally liked this one girl. You get. And simply because the features that this girl had kinda made it seem like she was attractive. The features at that time were defined as attractive. Right now, in Uganda, let's say, because this is where I am, a woman with no nyash, however beautiful she is, somehow her attractiveness goes down. You get it? Because we have put it in our minds that a woman with nyash, wakabi. Right? So it means omukazi ataina nyasha ina kuba very very careful kyonna kyakola. A man that doesn't fit the features of this guy is attractive, doesn't, let's say, dress up nicely, he has to be really careful. Because what was the first person that doesn't look good, the first person that doesn't look dressed smartly, the first person that doesn't, he's the one that will get beaten. You're not getting beaten because you're a thief, but you're getting beaten because you don't fit that description of not a thief. Council Patrick, hi. Impiso is a nyash is a primal characteristic of fertility. Okay. But I've seen chicks without nyash give birth to so many. Actually, chicks that don't have nyash give birth to so many kids. So many kids. Council Patrick, hi. You get? So we, and majority of us as men, until we have money, we are not really considered attractive. Forget about these guys that have baby faces that look like their mothers. Some of us look like our fathers, and our fathers did not look like their mothers. You get? And then there's also research that said that attractive parents can give birth to an attractive daughter, but they won't necessarily give birth to attractive sons. And I'm sure you guys have seen it. If a mother and a father are, let's say, beautiful, they'll give birth to beautiful daughters, but they will not necessarily give birth to beautiful sons. So there are chances that nebo no waso mukazo alabiko obulungi ati agavubuko ogenda gazana nga gafaanana nga miguyu. You get it? So, but what's the point here? The point is, because you may not fit the description that other people find pleasing, that other people find nice to look at, that other people find likable, that other people find easy to live with, that you need to not just be good, you need to be also careful. Because you may be good, but not careful enough. You say something that probably triggers the moment, or you say something that will trigger the moment sometime in the future. If you're probably talking to a workmate and then you say something and then they store it because it's you who said it, and then at a certain point something is done that is bad, and this workmate of yours will say, but Arthur said this, he must be the one. You get? So it's important that we are very careful. And then for our sajja, we need to be very careful. You guys have heard that a chick getting into bed with you doesn't mean she has consented. She can get into bed with you and she just wants to cuddle. So you need to be very careful. The world is shifting. Don't just be good, be much careful. I don't understand how Japan never runs out of used cars to supply to the entire African continent. It is just one country. Because they drive their cars for low mileage. You get? And I also think, because Japan literally makes for the entire Asian market, and Asia is huge. Just look at the population of India alone. You get? If Japan manufactures the car that go to the entire Asia, then I think that explains it. You get? And I also believe that cars come from all the other places where cars are exported new. They come back to Japan, and then they come back here. Of course, Africa doesn't take back the cars. By the time we get the cars here, they are already spoiled. We don't have the luxury to take back the cars, but I think there are countries that have the luxury of actually taking back those cars to Japan. But I also think that there are other people that get their cars from Dubai, not necessarily Japan. Even here we have importers that don't necessarily import from Japan, they get from Dubai. Some importers get from the UK. You get? So I think when you think Japan never runs out, it's you also thinking that we take a lot of cars. For example, in Uganda, you'll find that we don't have more than 200,000 cars. 200,000 zonna, all the cars in the country ng'ozigasse tegisuka mitwalo abiri. Okitegeera 200,000 cars. I think now it's about 250. But still, out of a population of how many people? Out of a population of 42 million Ugandans, we have about 250,000 cars. So yes, when you're on the road and we are in jam, it seems like there are so many cars in Uganda, but the cars are really small. Now just imagine, Uganda has been importing cars. Hi, Deep in Coffee. Uganda has been importing cars for a very long time. And we have not more than 300,000 cars. That's a very small, that's a very a portion. Which again, that's a very small portion, because you can imagine, and of the 200,000 cars, mweza 1962, mweza 1990, mweza 1992, emtwalaga. Chitegeza, ojja kwesanga nga the cars that get imported every year are about, let's say 2,000 cars are imported every year. You get it? Daudi, the reason we have traffic jam is not because we have a lot of cars. The reason we have traffic jam is because our cities are not really that planned, and also because yes, we have a huge country, but majority of the population is in one concentrated area. So majority of the people in you, that's why you don't find traffic jam in Masaka. No, you don't find traffic jam in like, of course, now there are other roads where people are living now. In the past, it used to be Chira with a lot of jam. Right now, there is jam. The guys that use Bombo Road in the evening will tell me there is a lot of jam now, even on Bombo Road. There used to be jam. Kasangati, I can pass there and get home fast, but I don't want to even go through Kasangati because Kasangati is a mess. Our roads are tiny, so our roads are not really planned. So we don't have jam because we have a lot of cars. No, you can walk muno estate mwendi. You can drive through the estate ngamwe morokanga musavu. And it's an estate of more than, let's say, 300 acres. Munzo bamwe morokanga 10 mu estate number. Nenga muli mu plot eziwere ebitano. Si bitano because this quadrangle alone has about about 50 plots. So 50 plots, one quadrangle, 50 plots, next quadrangle, 50. You get it? We have very few cars in Kampala. In Uganda, kati ateje ezemoroka emitwala 25 zenjogerako zinzo okubanga tezinawena emitwala 25 mulimu neza government zebagulanga mpya. So kati zebagulanga mpya zijja mpya, mulimu eza NGOs bazigula mpya, okitegeera. So it's the Japanese market can because literally, and there are markets that are smaller than Uganda. Like Rwanda, you can go in Rwanda and they have like 50, 60, 80,000 cars in that place. Burundi, you can go to Burundi and they have like 20,000 cars. Zinzanoba nyingi. Which and then there are of course bigger markets like South Africa that make their own cars. So technically Japanese don't give us all the cars. South Africa makes the cars. South Africa makes cars. Their neighbors there, Zambia. Is it Zambia? Zimbabwe? What country is near South Africa? Botswana. She takes all those countries there near South Africa. They get their cars from South Africa and they're new. They have a Toyota thingy. They have a Volkswagen. You get it? I think the quality of the population matters. India has a major part of this population living below the poverty line. Yes, but hi Hajara. Banange Hajara yakomyewe Kampala. Hajara kula airport pick up avuga Valvematic. Abantu abagenda okudde Kampala mwagala omuntu abavugako Hajara ali Kampala kunona ku airport na kutwala wherever you want. You know, Council Patrick, yes, I think this thing, we need to think about it in a different angle. The biggest majority of the Indian population is living below the poverty line. Yes, no problem. But still, even the population that is above the poverty line is huge. You get it? If we have like 10 million people and let's say 80,000, 10 million, and let's say 8 million of those are poor, 2 million are rich. Now just imagine a country that has 5 million people and 4 million people are rich. You get, they are rich, but even us here who have, am I making sense of what I'm saying? Mathematics and sumbo. But what I'm saying, if a country has 100 million people, and of the 100 million people, 80 million people are poor, the 20 million people are not poor. Still, they have a higher population of rich people than a country of 42 million people, which together, and then still even the 42 million people, like 5 million people that are not really badly off, which take it high vini cuts, you get. But other Indians prefer Bajaj motorbike to cars. I don't think. I think here in, for example, yes, of course, abayindi abavu bajavuga pichira nga wano. Era nga wano sebu. Teri muntu avuga pichi nga jayagala. Nobody rides a motorcycle. Nobody wants to ride. Not at least not the Bajaj. If you say the BMW that the late Jacob Olanya used to drive, that big BMW, that would make sense. But I can tell you that nobody prefers a Bajaj over a car. You get nobody prefers a Pasola over a car. The reason why those guys are driving Pasolas, Bajajes, is because it's what they can afford. You get. You guys, you have not seen Indians that are living luxury here in Kampala here. They're driving Kias. Indians. The dudes that are riding motorbikes, let me tell you, I think I tried to study why these guys ride motorcycles. The dudes that are riding motorcycles in Kampala are the dudes that are living in town. He lives at, let's say, Uganda Road Flats. He works at Kampala Road. What's the need of a car there? And even then they have the cars. Because those Indians eat life, they go to the beach. So the times when they are going to the beaches and all, they drive their cars. The guys that ride motorcycles, they're in town. I live up on a building, down my shop is there, so I need to go to the supermarket. He doesn't really need a bike for him to ride from Kampala Boulevard, where he lives and works, to go to Nakasero Market. So there he rides a motorcycle because he doesn't want to move. It's faster with a motorcycle. Those Indians, they don't prefer, nobody prefers a Bajaj to a kati waba wakulimba. Mbera yebe muteka mwecho. Mbera ye muteka munti, nti, kanvuge chi, kanvuge pilipiche. Ebyo nabina bitwebuza zambu pilipiche yangwa. No, me, I don't believe that. You don't tell me that you prefer to rent than to build, to own your own home. Nobody prefers that. You at that moment, you just cannot afford to build a house. You get it? Nobody should tell you they prefer an old car to a new car. No, at that moment, you can only afford an old car. But everyone would want. Nobody can tell you, after I buy an old Samsung, I want a new Samsung. I just don't think I can afford it. I want to buy an S23 Ultra. I can't afford it. That's why I have a used S21. You get it? But I would want to get a box and I unbox it myself. It would feel nice. I can't afford it. And the other thing that why Indians buy those motorcycles, they buy them expensively, by the way. They buy motorcycles at 7 million, 8 million. Do you know why? Here in Uganda, for example, they are not in their country. For them to get a used car that is in good condition is also another thing. So instead of getting a bad used car, why don't you just buy a new motorbike that you know is not going to break down at any one moment? Now, what you have access to buying motorcycles. You'd buy a motorcycle because in a country that is not yours, it doesn't make sense for you to be driving a car that breaks down. You get. Let's go back to our topic, guys. I have to go lift my weights. By the way, guys, I lift weights in the weekends. Remember, I used to drive, go to the gym. I'm saving that car fuel now. Yeah, until further notice, I may not go to the gym because I have my car weight. I lift 15 kgs here, 15 kgs here. Yeah. Chris Fitness, nkulinze ngo komyeo. Tubukwate mu wano. Katenge ndagula yo obumo obulala. I'm going to buy other weights because I already have a barbell. So I'm going to buy other weights and then very soon I'll also buy a bench. Kubakati. Obudde bwa gym olumbubula. Ne wano gwe nkoma wekiro. After washing my car 10 p.m. I go lift a little bit for 30 minutes. Then shower, then I like sleeping at night. You know, nebemba nyina exam encha. Bwe basa asobodde kusoma misana. Bwe ntuuke waka ku ssaawa 4. Kuba kweba kateri bya kusoma. Ekijja kijjenze when natuuka. That's what I do. But anyway, let's go back to our topic. So guys, we must not only be good, but we must try to be careful. We live in a country, and I find that so many times we try to ignore these things. We have grown up in a culture that ignores the important things, even when the important things actually affect our lives a lot. We must be careful. In Uganda, for example, tribalism exists. I hope you guys know. Hi, Augustine Blues. I hope you guys know that tribalism exists. I hope you guys know that the moment you walk to a police station and the officer asks your name, the next thing they'll ask will be your tribe. And this is a colonial thing. This is something that comes back from the colonial times, because when the colonialists took over whatever Uganda was then, they divided. They used divide and rule. And yes, there was tribalism, but I don't think it was as bad as it is now. Because right now the tribalism is being done by us. We, the Ugandans. I'm saying this because sometimes young people forget that tribalism is real. The moment you walk into a police station, they will ask you, what's your name? What's your tribe? I'm still asking myself why they still ask that question if we want to unite Uganda. And the moment you say your tribe, the person working on you will have decided whether they want to help you or not. I hope you guys know that. The moment you say your tribe, actually, sometimes you don't even have to say your tribe. The moment you say your name, the person that is writing the statement will have decided whether they want to help you or not, whether you're guilty or not. And if you want to see that, just start looking at the conversations they have as they talk to their fellow officers when they are writing your statement. Hey, Afande, now this one here, they will sometimes they'll even say your tribe. It has happened to me. And I find that because tribalism happens even in police stations, I was watching a video. I don't know, some of you, I'm sure you watched it. Someone was saying tribalism is bad to the extent that he went to a certain hospital and the doctor said, nzabo bagundi abo, nze sibakolako. Era we bandeetera wano list y'abalwadde nga kuliko amanya, those ones I work on them later. I first work on these ones. That's how badly it has gotten. And we, especially the men, the women were blessed naturally by God. But we as young men, I'm old now, I'm 34 years, I'm no longer a young man, I'm a big man. But men, let me say the men, we need to be extra careful. There are places where you should try as much as possible to avoid going there, avoid getting in trouble. Because first of all, I said they will judge you. They will judge you based on how you look. If you're not attractive, guys, boba toli mulungi. Because let's accept. Fena tuchimanyi nti waliwo omuntu gotunenoga omuntu oyo mulungi. Then tubako n'omuntu gotunyo omuntu oyo si mulungi. Boba toli mweru. You're not brown. Because this is a fact. So we need to be a little bit careful. We need to accept these things. Boba toli mweru, boba toli mulungi, boba toli muwanvu. Sometimes boba toli munene, and sometimes boba tolina chiwalata. Things might not go very well for you. This is why we need to be very careful. Don't just be good. Be very careful. You get that we have reached an extent where for something good to happen to you when you're in certain places, you have to relate yourself to someone else. And because if you don't add that, you as a person, you don't have respect. You as a person, you're fit to be slapped. If you're nobody, if you're a nobody, people will look at you like, eh. So you need to be extra careful. Many people won't accept the effect of tribalism until they become a victim. Tribalism exists, guys. In Uganda here, tribalism exists. And we all know when it started. Because I grew up. I think the only people that actually got the effect of tribalism a long time ago before this saga started. Because the real tribalism where I hate is even here, started recently. It started recently when the public figure started pushing it, and that public figure pushed it properly, and now it's in there. Like certain tribes hate other tribes, certain tribes despise other tribes, certain tribes think other tribes are bad. No, please don't do that. Don't. We all know. Let's just not mention names. Let's just not mention names. And you guys, and we need to understand that it exists. Mu malwaliro gyekiri, mu masomero gyekiri, ku airport gyekiri, ku nguudo kwekiri, In the police station, it's there. If the army finds you, it's there. Even when you're buying land, it's there. Go to the courts, it's there. Even as you're doing business, it's there. Certain people don't want to do business with other people. Certain people want to make sure other people don't survive. You need to be very careful. Don't just be good, because sometimes you're going to be good to someone and then there'll be a kakati, why is he doing that? You get it? So you need to be very careful. Don't just be good. But then baga boba toli mulungi, and majority of people are not beautiful. Which again. Mpiso twakula naye, but still you need to be careful. You get me? I'm saying this because me, I've gotten phone calls before, and I don't want to be in that position. Me, I find that fengaba vubuka, if you want to survive, twagala tuwangale means yakula kubazukulu bange. That's why I told you, the day I find that, you know, this country is unbearable for me, I will get out and never return. But I know that can happen. Guys, you cannot Uganda. And at that time, I tell my family all the time, the day we'll nja kufuluma Uganda sijja kudde numbers zange zikyuse, emails zikyuse, at least ndija kasaso nainga sikomyewo. Okitegeera. But mpiso, I try to be careful. Try as much as possible mpiso to not name names, don't name call. Yes, amazima oboga manyi, na sometimes it's good for you to keep that to yourself. Abantu bonna bonna amazima babaga, but it's very important that you keep that to yourself. So anyway, boba toli mulungi nga gwe wetundako mu ndabiramu bwoti, you're not the definition of beauty. Obanga you cannot transform yourself to kind of look beautiful. Ekyokubiri nga toli mweru. Because we all know we live in a country where people are bleaching, even men are bleaching, to in a certain way look appealing to the general public. Boba toli mugagga. Boba toli muwanvu. Boba tolina chiwalato, olumu n'okubanga toli munene. You need to be extra careful. There is one of our friends here, Ayman Ali. He's a lawyer, and he's a young person, I think in his 20s, and he's big. Aine chiwalata munene, and he used to tell me the day we inspected the car with him, and he told me, Arthur, I was telling him and he was telling me, Arthur, there are times I go to places, the moment I come, because I'm big, people look at me, and then they start doing what they need, because lawyer. But if you're a tiny lawyer, I know friends that took tabs, because of the perceptions that exist. Bobatoli mulungi, at least always be clean and smart. Exactly. So Ayman Ali yangamba nti, because I'm big, ntuka much for he's tall and big. And he told me ntuka much poni nkanga because of my size. And then I also have another friend, Agezi Munene. Yangamba ze Arthur sisara weight. Be children biraba ninamu newemba sina motuka mu kitundu n'okanga okitegeera bwe nkanga abantu bange ku street bada bidadala ninamu newemba sirina, and God is blessing him, is getting afuna akasente. But bwoba toli ebyo bintu, toli mulungi, toli mweru, toli munene, toli muwanvu, tolina chiwalata, tova mu family ya amaanyi, tolina sente, you need to be very careful, and not just in Uganda, everywhere. But you need to be much more careful in Uganda. Why? Because even your family is a jajja wange yangamba direct, yangamba nzo omuntu atalina sente nga sina kye mwagaza okitegeera. So whenever I'm broke, I try as much as possible to stay away. Okitegeera, I try as much as possible to stay away. Era amanyi okunkubira essimu nangamba agombuze kuno mga jajja sirina sente. Because she told me that ate kati yayinza oba yeerabira okuba nti yakiŋŋamba, but yakiŋŋamba okitegeera. Omanyi Abaganda baali bagezi, bo Abaganda bagamba kyerabirwa mwogezi. Like when you say something, you can forget, but the people you have told it never forget. There was a family meeting we were in, and there is this person, everyone was saying you said this, and this person, and people were like, okay, everyone is saying you said this thing and you're denying. So everyone else is dishonest and you're the honest one here. So, but anyway, we need to be extra careful for us to survive. There are times that I've found people nga bagamba n'ogamba ekkomera teryebwalika musajja omala kufa n'olyokomanyi tujja kuyingira kkomera. Nze nga Arthur, I found that there are ways you can try to avoid jail and prison. It's by being a little bit careful. Don't get into senseless battles. Don't get into senseless wars. Don't get into senseless exchanges. And let's accept it. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with the gentleman I told you about yesterday, and he was saying you should never ignore politics. In marketing, they tell us to never ignore politics. Actually, in marketing, we even have a model that we use. It's the Pesteli. Is it Pestel? Pestel. I think it's the Pestel, where we look at the political side of things, the economic side of things, and you see political is first. Because as a marketing person, you never ignore politics. Because the moment you ignore politics, it doesn't mean talk about it and be, oh, politics movie, oh, hey. One time I was manhandled by police officers who pulled me out of my car and threw me on their truck without warning for parking in a restricted area on Gaba Road at 2 a.m. They were my tribe mates. Why? Rastas in Miran, what did you do? How did you look? It's that they are the same things we are talking about. And I've found that in Uganda, don't park anywhere before asking people, can I park here? You get, don't park anywhere before asking people, can I park here? And at 2 a.m., don't park anywhere. Just drive your car and go. You get, me at 2 a.m., I don't park anywhere. Unless there is an officer with a gun and I ask that officer, can I park here? And he says, you park there. I remember there is a time I came back, Narimva Monsichi. And I had, as I was going, I parked my car at the airport and I left it there. So the day when I returned, I think my flight arrived at around 1 a.m. And I drove my car. I could not get to Matuga. And I turned, you see where Diamond Trust Bank used to be? I think it's still there. Where that Kenjoy supermarket used to be. I went to Diamond Trust Bank. I talked to the officer there, asked him, can I please park here? I'm really tired. And he said, you park there. So I parked and slept. You get it? Rastas in Milan, the one thing I've learned about Uganda is you as an individual, just know that every time someone has some bit of power, they will misuse it. You get it? And you don't, there is a time I had a meeting somewhere. I parked my car in the designated parking area. There was even the sign of P, the P sign. I parked there. I came back from my meeting. And my car was clamped. And the reason was that I parked in the wrong place. I paid the fine. From that day, even if there is a P for parking, I ask the people that are there, you want to parking? That's one thing I learned. But the other thing I learned, there is a time, first year of campus, parking is no mwala. You know how you park with someone and because you have a laptop, you don't want someone to pull it, you close the windows halfway, and the chick was seated here, and we were watching animation. The police officers came, and they even cocked their guns. Hey, why are you here? What are you doing with that girl in the car? Blah, blah, blah. They cocked the gun. You know, for me to get out of that place without getting out of my car, I gave them 50,000. You get it? So, Rastas in Milan, I find that we have to be extra careful as people, especially men. Elala considered and said it's only women and children who can afford to be careless. Yes. Be very, very careful. Now, at 2 a.m., you're not supposed to be parking anywhere where there are no many cars. If you park anywhere, make sure there are other cars parked there. If you park somewhere and your car is the only car parked there, move. I was from a bar dropping off friends and had a few drinks, so they arrested me for drink. Yeah. No. that is understandable, Rastas in Milan. What they did to you, it's just that we don't have systems. We don't have systems of arrest. We don't have like protocols of arrest in the country. But you are supposed to be arrested. Why driving under the influence? Rastas in Milan, it is okay. Bakusile. Do you know how many people have died because drunk drivers have knocked them? Do you know how many people? I know someone had a car. I've told this story before. He left his car at home to take a border so that they find a bus. They were going for a burial. They were killed by a drunk driver in the morning. They were killed by a drunk driver in the morning in Nigeria. A drunk driver. And know when you're drunk, you don't even see you're going fast. There is a time I drove when I was drunk. I don't want to ever drink again. And you know these campus things when it's a party, the things where they mix waraji and coke, they mix waraji and coke and beer, those things, whatever they call them. So we go to a party. And that night Mama Ban, we were still dating with Mama Ban. And then I was drunk with my friends there. Mama Ban got food. She went and sat on the table where there was a man. I tell you, hey, I came and she had to explain to me why she's seated on a table where there is a man. There were no free tables. But at that moment, she had to stand. She did not have to go and sit on a table where at least she should have stood and waited for me to allow her to sit on a table where there was a man, even when it was the only free seat. She had to, yeah, I tell you that day. But then again, maybe I wasn't just drunk. Maybe she actually sat at that table because she wanted to sit there because there was the other guy. But then again, when I think about it, she did not know the guy. It was just another guy at a party. But still, I'm trying to show you how your mind when you're drunk doesn't really work. When you're drunk, avoid drink. That night, actually, we were at campus. I drove up to my home. And it was a manual, no, it was a manual, it was automatic. And I was driving and I was drunk. My other dudes, I was seeing stars. Like I'm driving, oh, I don't see anything. They kept fixing the steering for me until we got home. You get? So yes, Rastas in Milan, your arrest was totally allowed. The hassling that they hassled you with, maybe you even fought, you don't remember. Drunk people don't remember certain things. You may have even fought. But I can tell you there are people that get hassled even without doing anything. So, but that's why we need to be careful. And what is this thing running about traffic lights after midnight? Considered the reason why I also run traffic lights after midnight is because you don't want to stop at a place and then get killed for stopping. So after midnight, and I don't really drive after midnight. I don't. I remember there is a time we were tried shooting a pilot in the studio. And we ended shooting at 3 a.m. And people wanted to go home. And I told them, you know what, sleep. We are going to take you home at 5 a.m. Because at 5 a.m., things are a little better. So at 5 a.m., we drove people home. So we were saying, okay, why do you drive at 3 a.m. only to get robbed or even beaten up? You guys have seen videos. So people are driving past traffic lights to keep their life. As a matter of fact, the only people that should stop you after midnight should be a police patrol that is clearly marked. Which again. So at midnight, you guys actually be careful. I don't know why this has not crossed. Actually, even at 10 p.m., even at 10 p.m., there are times I go to class, like I go to class certain days, and I come out of class at like 9 p.m., and then you have to drive to Matuga. And then I come from UMI, you see those traffic lights at Bajitabat and Yusuf Lule. Those are but when I stop at those traffic lights, my eyes are in the side mirrors, driving mirror, all around me, trying to figure out is anyone coming, and then my foot is on the brake ready to go, to the accelerator because I want to knock a thief. And that's the spot where those guys were used to do their business. So when you're trusted, even in buys, okujja ko ng'olengedde wa police ali wali, and sometimes even when the police officers are there, they are also helpless. Olumu wali naye nga mundu yote muli masasi. Olumu wali okitegeera. So, but anyway, but Rastas in Milan, I'm not saying what they did to you was good, but that's normal in Uganda. That's why you need to be very careful to avoid being hustled. To avoid being hustled. After I learned my lesson and quit alcohol since then. Amina. Kenneth Sengoba, how are you? Amina, Rastas in Milan. Me, I've never been arrested for Kawunyem. I've never. Because I don't really drink. I don't drink. Of course, I drink sometimes. Like if I go for a performance and we are successful, we drink a glass of wine and all that. But I don't really. I drink soda. Soda. Atene soda kati namuvako because njagala kulaba ku bazzukulu bange nnyo amazzi. See, I even have a big bottle here. Omukazi gwe nkola naye mu office ambeerako nangamba, you're one of the people that carry big bottles around. Njagala kuwangaala. But anyway, guys, you see what happened to Rastas in Milan. This thing happens to people every day. Sometimes, and for the guys, don't ignore red flags. It's your chance to go out before you actually marry her. Because ogenda kumuwasa omuteeke waka, omukazi abadde ayomba when you're dating, bw'omuwasa n'omuteeke waka ajja kukuba. Bw'anakukuba ojja kwagala to fight back. The law is never on the side of the men. That's the one thing you need to understand. And if you're two men, the law is never on the side of the man that looks ugly. It's on the side on the man that looks beautiful. So you need to be very careful. That's why I was telling you, it's a series of videos that I'm still watching that are telling how things work. And apparently people that look good, people that are beautiful, people that are, in our case here in Uganda, people that are brown, things work out better for them. That's why about bleaching. And they are bleaching. They want to have those glowing skins, the brown skins, because those open wider for people like that. For those to open, enzigiziga n'okwegula bwe batosaze ebintu ebyo okitegeera enzigi olumu n'okwegula. And sometimes the reason why people change their accents, enzigizegule okitegeera. So but anyway, you can be good and still be hustled. You can be good and still be treated like trash. You can be good and still be chucked. You can be good and still be cheated on. You can be good and you can be good and still be beaten. You can be good and still be treated like you don't matter. You can be good and still be treated like you're bad. So we need to be careful. I take it in Africa. One of the reasons why I've considered getting out of Africa, never coming back, is because we are even careful of our own family. When things work out for you, now you have to be extra careful. There's a time I was telling you guys here, sometimes our families want that's what they want. It's true, driving with while drunk is a risk, because it said out of 101 acts, there are 29 near misses and 300 minor accidents. So please be careful. Kamatha wongo banguganyo kajira na nchimanyi katufu. Katufu. Nchimanyi katufu. So you guys, I find that we actually need to, I think our generation, the guys that are between 25 and I think 25 the guys that are between 28 and 45, we are the guys that could probably change what is thought about Africa as a continent. Let's say Katusigalemu Uganda. We could change the culture of Uganda. We could change how we do things. We could change how we operate everything. We could change. We have a chance to actually change those things. And the things of parents, and yes, for you guys, you could say that the guys that have your parents. And yes, I also have guardians, but I don't think omzadde katonda wa wano kunsi, because I believe that if I hadn't been born in Uganda, I would have probably been born in the US. That could have been better, right? I would have been born in the UK. Which tegira. So for me, I don't want to believe that everybody katonda wa wano when they actually work on things to be fixed. But the way my concept of God is really powerful. God is that macho being that tosobola kwepankira katonda okitegeera. And then there was a pastor here last Sunday. I was washing my car after the broadcast. Was it before? I think it was after the broadcast. Some pastor came here and Avuga VW Tuareg and he was telling me, he's a pastor in a church here somewhere in the estate. Kuraba ngoku church yange. I told him dimuloko nimwansabira ku church y'abakatoliki. Are you sure? Nemubuza katonda wata. Limbo yes, walo katonda wata. And I looked at this dude. He's saying God is there are places God is not. And then I was asking him, do we worship the same God? The God I worship is everywhere. He's here. Is there a chance that God is not between us? And he was saying, yes, there's a chance that God is not. But anyway, you guys, we have to be careful because we are even warned about our family. I will tell you, the last time I went to my village, my singer, one of my singers told me, Arthur Todeno. I'm telling you this. One of my singers told me, Todeno. Not like she's chasing me away, but she's saying, she was telling me, for your own safety. Todeno. And that is in 2000. That's around 2011. She told me Todeno. So me, I'm very, very careful. You guys, we have to be extra careful. Have you heard of the thing that Togaba Sente? You've heard of those things. Togaba Sente. And some of these things, nothing, we are doing them because we have been told. We don't even know what, we can't comprehend what could go wrong. We have gotten to the point that when a family member asks you for money, you send mobile money. They have even told you, when a family member asks for money, take them to the shop, pay the shopkeeper. Don't just be good, be careful. You get? I follow international media, and even these days, moving abroad doesn't promise much, even in Western countries. Conceited. I'll tell you that if I leave this country and go, I will not be looking for better. I'll just be leaving. What else? A woman that divorces with her man, and she knows there is nothing outside there for her, but she just says, I don't want this anymore. That's why I'm telling you, Uganda is full of opportunities. The day I find that the opportunities don't exist and I decide that I'm leaving this place, I'll not be leaving for a year to go get capital and come back. I'll be leaving to go, even if it means eating on the streets in the UK or wherever. I will go. You get? So conceited. For me, I'm not like the dudes that leave and they want to work and come back. This is my country. The moment I realize that I cannot make a living here, that my family cannot survive, I will work on myself. That's why I'm accumulating papers, so that if I leave this country and go somewhere, I'll not be a dude that is not qualified in any area. Online. I know when I say these things, they seem funny, but the things I'm saying, so consider the day I decide that I'm leaving this country, I will not be returning. Not because I will not be returning even when things there are bad. I will stay there. You get it? And the day I decide to leave this country, I would rather die in the streets, let's say in the UK or in Brazil, than die here. So that's, for me to leave this country, if that ever happens, it will be that bad. What's the game? And there is a time I got a threatening call. And I said, if this call that is threatening me, if what they are saying they can do ever comes to pass, I will leave this place and never return. Because the person that was threatening is from a place that is supported by my grandmother, my aunties, my uncles. So all those guys that support that, I would go and never come back. But right now in Uganda, it's even, as a young person, even must be very careful. Because why you must be very careful is because gwengo mvubuka ali myaka 3 ngokozeho kasente ko okuzeya kamotoka ka bondi kabali emotoka ziri mu milioni 5 gyoyagala eri mu milioni 5 tofayo jajja mwami agenda very soon. It's not about jajja mwami mpiso. Actually jajja mwami talina buzibu. Mwe muyinza n'okuba muli awo ng'omusajja bamutusibako nga si yatwesibako ng'alina abawozi bunyama. But anyway, eyo tuveeyo. You guys must be careful, especially the men. Nti you are a threat to the people that are older than you. If you're 40, you are a threat to the people that are in 50s that have not achieved what you have achieved. If you're 30, you are a threat to the people in 40s, in their 40s, that have not achieved the things you are achieving. If you're 20, you are a threat to the people in their 30s that have not achieved the things you have achieved. And some people don't take threats. They don't just take threats lightly. You become a threat, they want to sterilize you, to kill you, to push you down, to make sure you go under. Be careful. Be very careful. Nti ewamwetu wabanga yo motoka no jango ovuga kawundo. And everyone, I think this is the thing that Bobby Wine was talking about. Nagamba, if you, was it Bobby Wine, one of those guys? Nagamba nti bobera kuchalonga, no, it was Nambozi, I think. Bobera kuchalonga, you're the rich one. One time, those people are going to come and eat you, the people around you. Because Uganda is not a country where we have communities for rich people and then communities for poor people. In every community, even in Chira, there are some people that are still poor there. People that did not sell their plots, that stayed there in their poor environment. There are people that refuse to sell to the estate. And when you drive past their houses, you know you're going to kutunda. So what do you do under those circumstances? You help them not by being a helper. You give them employment and stuff like that. Opportunities are created for them and all that. You get and when you look at games, you guys have ever played city building games? Those games show you that it's the responsibility of the administration of that city to make sure there are enough jobs, to make sure that there are enough hospitals, enough schools and all that. I don't know if our administrations of the cities in Uganda actually do those things. That's what they are supposed to be doing. Osegira nti Nansana municipality, the mayor is supposed to make sure that there are enough jobs. Osegira. But I think because the census is done by the country, then the mayor is doesn't have power. But if the cities, I think in the federal system it would work. Nti Manyoro, Abasoga, Bonaba Bale population yawe, then we come back to the central government and say, you know what, this is how many people we have in Munyoro, this is how many people we have in Bosoga, this is how many people we have here. And then the government has the total population. And then the people in Munyoro start planning for their guys. We have this population, these people are not employed, these people are employed, these people need jobs, these people and then they plan. That's how cities are built. And I think that's why mayors used to have a lot of power, because a mayor plans for his city. You get it? Tetuina gated communities for the middle and upper class. Actually, in Piso, we have those communities. In Munyonyo, Luzira, there is a community called what? I've forgotten the name. You enter, they get the security. And then from that point on, you don't just enter. They have very big fence surrounding their entire community. It's a Catholic name of that place. It's one community that I've seen, and I think even National Housing tried to do that, gated communities, but their apartments are really expensive. But if I made some money, I would buy an apartment there and take my family there. You get it? But even in the estates, like the estate where I am, that's how people are living. Of course, they are not gated, but the security is a little bit better than in places like where I used to live in Kasangati. Of course, in Kasangati, there is no time my house was broken into. There is no time that I even felt, because that the thieves use every simu, right? I was never robbed in Che, and where I used to rent. And then somehow they did not get in there. But we have gated communities in Piso. And then probably you guys can start creating gated communities but then the gated communities come with expenses of security. You get, because you need to have like more than 5 security guards in that community. two on the gate, and then the other people keep moving around to keep you guys secure. But gated communities are really nice. They're really nice if you have the money. But anyway, guys, men like me, you must namwe abakazi, by the way, even women, don't just be good, be careful. Nze ebintu by'abakyala bino mbyogera mu Luganda because YouTube esobola okujjayo video yaffe, but abakyala naddala abawala ebiseera ebimu bina bwe babeera ne bakola ebintu nga bali innocent naye nga olabira ddala busiru, beesiganya abasajja, they trust very easily, and then ebiseera ebimu they do things ng'alaba mugezi naye ng'ate mugwagwa, okitegeera, and at the end of the day omwana omuwala of getting taken advantage of, you lose your value. Ge mazima omuntu abadde akulabanga queen n'akussa ku ddaala lya princess n'akuza ku ddaala ly'omuzaana n'akuza oshaya n'agenda ng'akussa because of the things that you have gone through. So even the ladies must be very careful nti the ladies have their opportunities were made by God. The opportunities of the ladies were made by God. They are open. A woman can be here with you and in the next 1 month and I think that's one reason why African parents want to have baby girls, because a baby girl can go get married to a tycoon and all of a sudden the entire family changes, and then the girls of course take care of their parents. The system here in Uganda won't work for us or our children, and even the leaders riding the tiger are thrilled by its speed because it will eat them too. Conceited, using a lot of metaphors. Why using a lot of metaphors? But considered, you're using a lot of metaphors. But anyway, guys, all in all, you can be good to people, but be very careful. Be careful with me as well. I'll also be careful with you. There are times that I've done inspections. By the way, episode mutufu mileage nene ta value. Nze nkubulira n'omusajja abeera nawe mu nyumba nga buli wakutunulira alabira ddala kilomita emitwalo 15 gyefuna. Singa nafuna y'akaana akalina emitwalo 2 oba akatayina akoze mu mileage. Otaba omukyala alina mileage ennene abanga motoka nkadde. But anyway, tuveeyo. Guys, kyonna kyokola, try to be careful. Naddala ng'oli mu Uganda, ate namwe abali ebweru, be careful. Me, I've been fortunate enough, even when abroad, I've never been stopped by police. I've never been, and I experienced racism only once when I was 16, when I was in Norway. I said I experienced tribalism because I was in a deep village, deep there, you take a train for like 3 hours to get to that place. So that's a village. It's totally understandable to be experiencing tribalism there. I was 16 and I was defended by a white girl still. And I've never, and trust me, I have 2 passports that are full, and I've never experienced the kind of tribalism that people have been to the UK, I've been to the US, I've been to Canada, I've been to France again, I go France. I've been to Denmark, I've been to Norway, I've been to Sweden, I've been to Switzerland, I've been to Belgium. Once again, but all those places I never experienced racism. But after living abroad as an African is sometimes not easy regarding a few things like racism. Among other things, one has to be psychologically prepared for it. All and certain jobs aren't considered. Jojo, I know all that. But me, and I've worked abroad sometime. But of course, I go there as an expatriate. I go as an expatriate. But that's why I'm accumulating papers. That's why I'm learning everything I can. So that if I start a conversation with someone, they can know that on ainamu chamanyim, ainamu kumagezi, uchitegire bitabali na asuro kola something. That's why I'm reading. That's why I'm educating myself. I totally understand that there is racism, but sometimes racism might be better, because with racism you expect it. There are things you don't expect in your country to happen to you, and the moment those things that I know should not be happening to me as a Ugandan in Uganda, the moment those things happen to me, I will leave and never return. Arthur, imagine paying bride price for what others have been enjoying for free. Man, Nico. Hey. Yeah. Very careful. Nature is very careful. Baba sajja bajja kulya. They will eat. Bajja kulya. One of my friends used to tell me, one of the big pastors in town, yawasaka kampasa. Niembunga, he was dating the kakampasa even after the marriage. Kakampasa kajamu hostel. Some other dude was chewing, and he's a very prominent pastor. The dude is still chewing. Pakakati. But you can imagine, uli musajja wa kitibwa, okoleredde erinnya lyo, okoze sente zo. You need to be very. Ate red flags, abasajja abo balaba red flags. Naziraba ne mu ignoring. Mwe basajja mwe stop ignoring red flags. Me, I don't ignore red flags. I don't. Ira red flag bwogirabe mugirabe itandika okugatta dots omalo gambo manyi tunabe mu ngalo genda okola ebirala. But anyway, guys, today I just wanted to share that because I think being extra careful nange kinyambyeko obutagenda mu kkomera, kinyambyeko obutakubwa miggo, okitegeera kinyambyeko obutabira in certain troubles. And one of the first step for you to be careful is knowing your position. Bomanya nti this is my position here. Jimanye tosuka tomanyira muntu okitegeera teweewa nnyo bantu teweewa botalina kuweewa. You understand your position. Like me, I know that when I see an army guy, my goal is to simply say hello afande and walk away. Ne police kyekimu tobeewa ojja kubeewa at the wrong time. Ali mbuzibu akukuba empi wewe kwanza alikuwa nani I know that there are people I don't cross paths with nga siyomba naye nga nkimanyi if you quarrel with this person you can end up in jail. You quarrel with this person, you can imagine Kanyamunyo shot a man and killed him because he scratched his car. You get Kanyamunyo shot another man because that man scratched his car, and Kanyamunyo is out after only 3 years. Nenga yamuta omuntu yakkiriza natta omuntu na 3 years kati gwenga bakutta. Then another one of my followers here, he's a celebrity, was telling me one of his friends bamutta some dude yakulubula emmotoka ye nga bwe tuva mu mmotoka ng'oyomba ovuma n'aba guy n'amukuba essasi pa n'atula mu Land Cruiser ye n'avuga n'agenda after killing her, and she was buried. No one knows who shot her. They just saw a Land Cruiser. So in this country, we must be, and at that moment, what the tribalism, at that moment, tribalism did not apply. At that moment, it was just a human killing another human because you have said something that doesn't make them happy. So we must be very, very, very careful. Then there is a time this guy, president of our performing artist, Benon Chibuka, he used to do Hajibumari at Asasura border. You remember that thing? And someone tried to pour acid on him because of that character. And before they poured acid on him, dudes were warning him. Dekera okozesa erinnya ly'obusiraamu. Dekera okozesa erinnya ly'omuso ly'omuntu omusiraamu in your skits. Nti omusiraamu tasasula border. And immediately after pouring acid on his car, he changed. N'atandika okozesa dube atasasula border. So you need to be very careful in this country. We live in a country where people are extremists without actually saying it. We live in a country that bw'otagenda ku church, people would start saying, oyo tagenda ku church, musamize, oyo asaddaka abantu. We live in a country where when you achieve stuff, people start saying, oli mubbi. Network. In Uganda, people should avoid finding themselves on the wrong side of the law because our authorities don't follow the law when you fall in their hands. Exactly. Even in Uganda, there is some prejudice and racism in high-end restaurants or hotels to ask the local Ugandan. Ricardo, me, I don't go there. If I don't go to that hotel or restaurant, will I not have lunch or supper? Me, I don't go to places. If I'm treated like a second-class citizen in that restaurant, I don't go there. A restaurant is a business. If you find that Arthur doesn't treat you well when you want to do pre-purchase inspection, don't go there. Whatever customer be to go back. Like this pastor go back one over ya mumpa one. Ngaba na Uganda but entitled bwambuzi ebibuzo nga sibidda mune mugamba sibina byoyagala yali nsobola no bimufunga ninda mugoba butuba tugoba bakasoma bagenda tuwa sente lwaki otwali sente ze wantu gye batakwagala. Don't go there. You lose nothing in letting things go. Sometimes omuntu akulubula n'omuleka. Me, I've learned that right now, border guys don't have money. So instead of waiting to get into a wrangle with the border man, give them a distance. Kuba agenda kukulubula mudde mu mala obudde nga talina na ssente. So abambeera mu maaso mbawo obudde bwe ndaba nga nsobola okugattawo ngattawo okitegeera. Owa boda bwankulubula emabega situnula nayo. I just hope it's not bad and I drive away. You get why? That's one way for me to be careful. I'm trying as much as possible to be careful in this country because I want to live to see my grandchildren. So I find that fengaba vubuka twagala tukule because fe tulina okuza our generation ino kula tutukenga olaba nga generation yaba Museveni bwediwe nti bonna we bali beera bakokala abamu bafudde abamu babase okitegeera but abaliwo we bali tebali bubi tulina okufaayo ennyo generation yaffe tuleme kuleka batamiivu nga bebawangaala because we the sober people ate olumu tusussa nnyo okubeera principle onkola otya kino kiri okikola otya tukisussaamu ate bw'ona okisussa oyinza obutawangaala okitegeera omusirikale you a police officer how do you do this to me ajja bikola kakana kati tukimanyi our country is corrupt bw'oba weetaaga okugabayo enguzi gigabe yitawo okitegeera kireke genda teweesibaako. But right now, under the situation that are existing, try as much as possible to live within them and survive until better situations come. Because I realize that our country will get better. It might not get better now. It might get better in 50 years, 100 years. You need to be ready for that. Which take boda taxi UG number plates na bavako bakwa mpiso oli mutuufu abantu avuge moroka za government abo ate bagwagwanya abo bayina ne mundu he can even kill you. So for me, when I see a government car, nga nenyigirizaako, I stop na mpitako na agenda. Uwa number plate ya taxi guys. Those are other people that are really broke. I'm telling you. So if he wants to do whatever he does, omuleka naayitawo n'okola ebibyo. N'aba boda, ab'amagye, aba police, abo mbaleke bakole bye bakole ki. Then the other thing that I found that has helped me a lot, nti nzo omuntu bwaneesimbamu nangamba athanva mu maaso nga muviira even if have started a certain product no neesimbamu no ngamba atha ekyo kyange nkireka and I let nature take its course because me I don't believe in karma. I don't believe that if someone kills you somewhere along the line someone will kill his grandchildren. How will I know? So you live, sometimes you let things go. And I also believe that God has also let things be. Because for the God that people pray to every Sunday, I believe there are certain things that will be changing in Uganda, but they are not. So ebintu ebimuze ndowooza mukama yabivaako n'abyesonyiwa n'agenda akola ebibye. Aleka ali busy mu Caribbean oba ali mu America kuba baba kolerako okitegeera kati waliwo ensi ezimu Katonda ziyavaako kale Arthur, these mixers have really generated fear among Ugandans. It's reckless driving. Let me tell you, those lorries, those mixers are driven by people that are not qualified to drive them. That's all. They are driven by people that are not qualified to drive them. The people that are qualified to drive them drink a lot. They get tired a lot. So the turn boys start driving them. That's why me, if I'm going up a hill and there is a lorry in front of me, I keep a very big distance or I overtake. And if the lorry is, I'm in front of a lorry and we're going down a slope, I try as much as possible to let that thing overtake me. You can try as, of course you can't, there are things, fate is fate, but you can try. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Antonio, random things to see me, Eddie Juko, Nicholas, Mose Masadam, Tali Samuel, Ismail Sumukoteka, Web Solutions, Kalibala, Joseph, Banang, digital marketing tutandika ngasatu. Yeah, it's a Wednesday. It's going to be a public holiday. That will be our open day. So, and you don't have to pay. That's the first class. You don't pay anything. Just come for the open day of Zebi Booz or Aboba Kose Kolera and we proceed. Derek Lule, Daniel Mosh, Matembe, Abdur Nasa. Was it? Office in another badge. So badge is 4th actually. It's 4th. Majwala Julius, Council Patrick Asiku, Rastas in Milan, Deep in Coffee, Daudi Mukasa Haja, Vinny Katz, Augustine Blues, Kabugo Ino, Conceited, Aloyo Joe and Jojo, Kenneth Sengoba, Kabali Moses, Balviz, Ricardo, and Brian Wanyama. Okay. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for being part of this broadcast. The guys that are watching this video later today or tomorrow or next week, thank you very much. I don't take you for granted. Thank you for sharing my content. Thank you for telling people about this channel. Thank you for referring pre-purchase inspection customers for me. I don't take you for granted. Thank you very much. Of course, the way that we don't pre-purchase inspection, 450k. I come with a mechanic. We make sure that you get the best car you can within your budget. I'm your guardian angel. I make sure you make the right decision at the right time. So my role overall here is just to guide you to make sure that, because at the time of buying cars, you may not accept, but at the time of buying cars, we normally get excited. And sometimes excitement makes us make mistakes. So I'm there to make sure that we don't make that mistake together or together. And then I work together with the mechanic to make sure that the condition is good. So far, we have a very high success rate. Very high, by the way. Very high. Yeah. And I sell car tracking devices at 350 and 450,000 shillings. Oba amanyi sibamanyi bwakubira bwakubuzaako bweyefula omusajja omukulu ati nyina emmoroka nnya kakati zobadde idiots. Anyway, I also sell car alarm systems. Nyinawo radio zange zikyali mukaaga ezikyaliwo Android radios. I'm going to install one of them here mbalage bwekola. And then I'll show you the difference between these two radios and why you should be buying the other radio and not these radios on the market. So when you look at them, they are literally the same radios, but some of these radios have been rigged. Bakulaga nti radio ina 4GB naye nga teweza 4GB. Okitegeera ne bakulaga nti there are so many things that are done. Ngera bwe mulaba computers e Kampala, omwana asobola okukyusa computer nakulaga nti ina graphics memory naye nga ate teyina. There are so many things that they can be done in software. So I'll do that comparison, and then you can see, for the guys that want to support me that side, you will be able to support me. May God give you a blessed evening. Don't drink and drive, guys. Keep safe on the road. For the love of cars, we make sure that we have healthy drivers and safe roads. Okay? Keep it like that. May God bless you, child.